Hello, everyone, and I am now here with sort of like a somewhat uh, impromptu, or I guess unscheduled kind of like review because this is like a newly acquired action figure that I uh, bought from the uh, Vancouver Toy and Comic Book Convention. Uh, this past October, and um, this is a Medicom Batman and Catwoman, and I just got them both for 150 Canadian dollars. And shout out to Jeff, my buddy, who helped me haggle down the price from 160 to 150 Canadian dollars. So thanks, Jeff, for helping me out with that. And that translates to roughly around maybe 105, 110 US dollars, which for a Medicom toy, that's a fairly good amount. Now, granted, both of these toys did not come in boxes, so I think that's the reason why the seller um, was able to sell it for cheap. But they're both in what it seems like a fantastic condition, right? And now I've inspected it before buying it, but this is the first time that I'm actually looking at it. And like the Batman looks amazing. It's like his horn here is, that's actually my fault because he didn't have a. It's slightly bent because the way that I stored him, because he didn't have a box. I think that the ears got pressed against the box, but I think that can be corrected. Um, but essentially, this is a great action figure. I mean, let's just get my ruler here to see how tall this guy is. He's just about, I mean, I guess like standing up fully straight with knees unbent. From the foot, it's almost exactly 12 inches tall, right? And I'm not sure what type of Medicom body that they've used for Batman. He seems like double jointed, right? And his suit is kind of like rubberized, latex ish. And I just love the detail on this guy. Like, look at his face, that scowling Batman face. And I believe this is also the Hush design by Jim Lee. I like the when there's like a sharpness there just across the mask, right? So just looking at this like side profile and back profile, and this cape is just attached. I don't know. Well, I think it can be detached. Oh no, it is attached by a Velcro on the shoulders, so it doesn't look awkward, right, when you're posing him. Um, so it looks kind of like broad Batman shoulders. So that's velcroed on, and I think that's also hitched to the back here, so it goes all the way back. And that bat logo, yeah, I think this is the more or less the newer um, Batman logo, right? I think New 52 and all that. And the details on his belt, it's just like the pouches. Yeah, there's like a velcroed suit. I'm not sure. Yeah, so it is. You know, you could. I theoretically you could remove the suit, and I know some Medicom guys have upgraded some of the default bodies because Medicom bodies tend to be more fragile, and so some of the posability are limited. So I know some folks who've changed the Medicom to like something sturdier like I guess like a stainless steel Phison body, or any other like third party, um, that seems sturdier. But this isn't so bad. I guess if you're not posing him in extreme poses, so there are some articulation here on the shoulders, and also here in the arms, right? And like I said, double jointed. So this wrist here, this hand is on a this is like on a ball joint, right? And the funny thing is, you could also kind of like extend it if you wanted, extremely. I guess it depends. You could have it like either a little bit more flush, right? Or you could also have it like a little bit bendy. So there is some articulation here. And also on the foot, it's kind of tricky here. I think this is like full. I don't see any articulation here. Um, it only looks like it, which is kind of cool, but this is molded, right? So, uh, and look at the detail on those boots. Haven't seen enough, you know, whether this is comic book accurate. I guess you guys can judge if you're like a Batman fan. Um, I don't think those are letters. I think that those are just like the threads on the boots. Um, and he has some torso articulation, so there is a joint here, and there's a swivel waist, and the head, of course, tilts up and down, side to side. Um, and then on the knees, I don't think it's double jointed, so this is as much as it goes. Now with the Medicom body, I think it can go. You see, I think the body would allow it to have a little bit more agile poses. It's just that the suit itself limits that ability because it's like it's a very tight suit, and you run the risk of ripping the suit if you pose them a little bit more extreme. So the limitation is not on the Medicom body, it's just on the suit that limits it. And the cape is also wired. It's a wired cape. So I guess you could put him in some, I don't have a stand. So this unfortunately did not come with a stand. And that's why I'm sort of like reviewing this top bottom, right? But at least you could put him in some sort of like more dynamic, especially with a cape. Um, Not like I guess Spawn like if you want. And I think this just goes at the very end. It's a wired cape all around, but there's no wires at the middle part of the cape. It's just the it's just the it's just the end wires here. And I guess like span wise, oh, this might be like a good, I don't know, I'm just approximating here, probably a good 20-inch tip to tip from of the cape. It's just as tall as him, so I know, like you could do like I know some folks want to display like the kind of like the mysterious like Batman-esque kind of like that, and I kind of want to. I don't know. I still haven't decided because I haven't gotten a stand yet. But I'll display it at some point. Maybe kind of like with a kind of. I really like the Spawn-like effect of a cape. So I think with this type of cape, I'll be able to do that. Now on the Catwoman, the material seems like it's almost kind of like Batman's here, but because the suit is black, it looks more latexy than the rubber. But I suspect it actually feels like the same material here that it's made out of. I don't know if the gloss is just because of the way, because like black seems to be glossier than the gray material, so it might be that. But for this, I've looked at other reviews. Apparently, these goggles are removable. Oh, they are. They are. There you go. And that you have to be careful because it only comes with one set of goggles apparently, but you could position that atop of her head, or I've seen ones where they push it all the way to the bottom, and so it lands snugly on Selena's head like that, right? But it's odd, right? Because it's like this is not like an extendable plastic. It's a very fixed plastic. So if you're gonna be posing Selena with her goggles, it actually looks a little bit more like this. And then if you kind of just want it to be sitting just on top of her head, it looks like that. Now I like the face of Selena, but for me, I kind of like the iconic. She's wearing her goggles, and so it kind of bothers me that this does not go all the way. I guess I could push it a little bit more, but from the reviews that I've seen on YouTube, the other ones, it says you have to be really careful because once you overextend this because of the way that it's shaped and because of the limitation of the band itself, because this is like kind of hard plastic. Um, some recommend to use kind of like a heat blower to expand it a little bit so that when you're putting on the goggles, instead of it just going just sitting on top of her face like that and then the band on the back, is that you can put it flush here, because the other thing too is that her ears now get in the way of the band, so there's just no way to do this and pull it um, if you haven't made the plastic material here soft. There's no way to expand it. So I guess that's the caution that I've seen on the other review videos of this figure. So I think for the most of them just kind of like display Selena um, just kind of like that with the sort of like the accessory that's sitting on top of her head. But it is entirely, I think it's possible to sort of like slowly stretch it as long as you have like a blow dryer so that her goggles sit flush on her face. And with this figure, I think this is uh, same articulation. You have a shoulder articulation, you have a head that swivels, and goes up and back and forth and side to side. There is also a arm articulation. It is double jointed at the knee. Torso articulation. And, I think, like I said, same with Batman, this Medicom body would allow it for more flexibility. It's just that the suit itself is fairly limiting. And, so you might have to do some statuette poses with this one, I guess. In theory, you could also blow dry the suit, but that would stretch it in such an unnatural way that the moment that you return the figure in kind of like a standing figure, there'll just be like wrinkles, right? And I can already see some wrinkles here at the back because of the suit. And that's a little bit problematic, I think. Especially, I don't know how this suit would hold up in terms of like the test of time. I think on my previous video, I've shown like some bodies do degrade over time. This is not a rubberized body inside, but the suit is, right? So this one, the zipper is, I don't think it's, I don't think you can change the clothing on her because there's, this is like a full rubber on suit. I think this is like a decorative zipper. I don't think you can pull it down. I don't think you can change her suit. So that makes that has a limitation in terms of like if you wanted to upgrade her to like a Phison body or something else. Yeah, and now this belt apparently, because she has like the whip belt right now, this is supposed to be on a Velcro, but I think this Velcro has like torn off. There are accessories, of course. I forgot about that from both of them that I've received as well. Now, I don't know if this is like the full set of accessories, so you'll forgive me if they're not, because, again, this came in without the boxes. So for Batman, comes with sets of hands here. Um, they're all like open hands. I don't know whether this comes with accessories, unfortunately. So I don't know whether there's like a batarang that usually comes with that. From the reviews that I've seen, that's kind of vague. I should have looked at the boxes more carefully whether it did. But for Catwoman, at least, she comes with a whip, right? And also a belt buckle. Now, from the review that and also some hands. Now, from the review that I've seen, this is supposed to be here, but again, because this has come off, like this portion, I think, has come off. Um, I might just have to like remove this, so this is like a Velcro, and reattach it to the belt. But if I take off that piece here, I could just reattach it with this, and that doesn't fall off. Like the Velcro ensures that the buckle stays here, um, which is also a great option, right? I'll just put this back here so that I make sure that I don't lose it. So this actually, like, there's a bit of like a chip paint that actually belongs here to the whip belt. So when you're posing her with a whip, holding the whip, you want to pose her with this buckle instead of this, so that it looks like she's actually using her whip accessory, which this one is kind of like fairly short for like a bullwhip. It doesn't extend, so this is just all hard plastic, which I kind of hope that if they made Batman's wire cape, Batman's cape wired, right? I kind of hope that this whip may also have been wired instead of molded, but I guess there might be limitations in terms of price and all that. So it might be a cost cutting thing. Maybe it's like a production limitation on the part of Medicom. I don't know. But she does come with more hands, I think. So she has these two hands which are already attached, plus three other pairs of hands. So there's a bunch of like close-fisted hands. Oh, there's four close-fisted hands, and then there are like these other extra open hands here. So yeah, I mean, I like them both. In fact, like next to each other, they look an amazing couple, right? Selena here is just short of right around 11 inches tall. Um, you know, and like with if you're a fan of the Hush Batman, this is not a bad piece. Like I said, for the price that I've paid for these two items, it's actually quite a steal. It's just a matter, I guess, for me of like finding a display stand and also a display case, because I kind of plan to display this in my office, and just kind of like as a centerpiece, with all the other stuff. But I kind of just, because it's a beautiful sculpture, like just with a face sculpt for these two, and the proportions. It's fantastic for display. Like I said, it's with Medicom toys. I don't think they're designed as, for kids. So definitely, you can't just play with this as freely as you would like a far more articulated action figure, because like this tends to be a little bit more fragile. Especially with Medicom stuff, I'm a little bit more sensitive about how I would move some of these pieces, because first is that they come with fragile bodies, and then second, if any of the Medicom bodies break, it's kind of hard to find a replacement for them. And it's hard, definitely, to replace them. Like Selena here, I don't know how to replace her if any of her joints kind of break. Same with Batman, but at least with Batman, there's kind of like an access to replace it with a suit. I don't think it's the same with with Catwoman here. So that's it for me. That seems to be like a longer review than usual because I'm reviewing kind of like two figures. So I hope that's been helpful, and see you again next time.